Joseph, son of Jacob, was his father's favorite because he was born in his old age. Jacob made Joseph a coat of many colors, which further increased the brothers' jealousy. Jacob made Joseph a coat of many colors, which further increased the brothers' jealousy. Joseph had a dream and told his brothers, "We were binding sheaves in the field, and my sheaf was lifted up, and your brothers were bowing down to it." I had another dream. The sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed down before me. The brothers planned to get rid of Joseph when he came to meet them in the field. A man found Joseph lost in the field and led him to his brothers, not knowing what was coming. As soon as they saw him, they conspired against him and threw him into a cistern. They took his tunic. The cistern was empty, without water. Joseph was left there, abandoned. Judah said, "Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. That way we won't kill him and we'll make a profit." And they lifted Joseph up out of the pit and sold him for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites. And the Ishmaelites took Joseph to Egypt. And they took Joseph's coat and killed a young goat and dipped it in the blood. Jacob recognized the robe and wept bitterly, saying, "A wild beast has devoured my son." In Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard. And the Lord was with Joseph, and everything he did prospered. Potiphar saw that God was with him, and he made him ruler over his house. Potiphar's wife looked at Joseph and wanted to sleep with him. She grabbed his clothes and said, "Lie with me." But he ran away, leaving the clothes in her hands. She called the servants of the house and said, "Joseph tried to attack me." When Potiphar heard his wife, he ordered Joseph to be thrown into the prison where the king's men were kept. Even though he was in prison, the Lord was with Joseph and gave him favor in the eyes of the jailer. Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker were arrested and placed under Joseph's care. Hey, both had mysterious dreams and were disturbed. Tell me your dreams, for the interpretation comes from God. I dreamed of a vine with 3 branches, and I squeezed the juice into the king's cup. Within 3 days, you will be restored to your post. I dreamed of 3 baskets of bread on my head, and birds were eating from the top basket. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will condemn you to death. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will condemn you to death. But the cupbearer forgot about Joseph and did not tell Pharaoh about him. 2 years later, Pharaoh had a dream that deeply disturbed him. I dreamed of 7 fat cows coming out of the Nile and grazing by the river. And 7 thin cows that devoured the fat ones, but remained as ugly as before. Pharaoh woke up, but did not understand the dream. Then I saw 7 good, full ears of corn growing on one stalk. And there came up 7 thin and dry ears of corn, which devoured the good ears. None of the wise men of Egypt could interpret Pharaoh's dreams. Then the cupbearer said, "Today I remember my failures. A young Hebrew interpreted my dream in prison." Then Pharaoh sent for Joseph, and he was quickly brought out of the prison. Joseph was shaved, changed his clothes, and presented to Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said, "I have had a dream, and no one can explain it, but I have heard that you can." Joseph replied, "It is not I, but God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer." Pharaoh told Joseph both dreams, waiting for his explanation. The 2 dreams are one. 7 years of plenty will come throughout Egypt. Then will come 7 years of famine that will consume all the abundance. Therefore, choose someone wise to store food during the years of plenty. Would we find someone like this, in whom is the Spirit of God? And Pharaoh made him governor of Egypt, commanding him to sit at his feet and putting a ring on his finger. Joseph was elevated to governor of Egypt, with authority to store food during the years of plenty. During 7 years of abundance, Egypt harvested so much that the grain was like the sand of the sea. Pharaoh gave Joseph Asenath as wife, and she bore him 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Joseph named his firstborn Manasseh, for he said, "God has made me forget all my toil and my father's house." The second he named Ephraim, because God has made me prosperous in the land of my affliction. And the 7 years of famine began to come, as Joseph had predicted. There was famine in all the lands, but in Egypt there was food. Then Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold grain to the Egyptians. And all the nations came to Egypt to buy from Joseph, for the famine was severe throughout the land. When Jacob heard that there was food in Egypt, he said to his sons, "Why are you looking at each other? Go down to Egypt and buy grain, so that we do not die of hunger." Go down to Egypt and buy grain, so that we do not die of hunger. Then Joseph's 5 brothers went down to Egypt to buy food.